Hey, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and ring the bell for future notifications of all other videos. Well, now you got me dancing. Hello, everyone, and I hope you are having a beautiful Monday. Today is Monday Money Talks, and what we do today is we will go over the tracker every Monday, every week, our JnJ stock, just so we can keep on track and looking at our stocks and being aware of what's going on with our stocks. As well as we always cover some type of financial or money type topic. So with that being said, let's look into the JnJ stock tracker sheet that I had created. So here we are with the JnJ stock tracker. Today is the 29th, Monday the 29th. And as you can see here, as always, the highlighted area is the area that I will cover because that's for today. And this right here, the 22nd, is from last week. So what we always do is go over this. So as of today, JnJ stock, the current stock share is 159.42. Last week it was 154.37. I thought I had a little, nope, I don't. So we currently have 4 shares of stock. We didn't buy any this week. We will buy some next month. We always buy 1 share every month, and that will be for next month. Our total amount invested into the stock, as you see here, is $637.68. Calculation, the current amount of shares and how many shares we have. The annual dividend rate is the same. Next dividend payment is the same. And a quarterly payout, meaning this is how much we will get each quarter based off of the dividend, the next dividend payment. So it is 4 shares times the dividend amount payment that is calculated by the corporation, which gives us $4.96. This is how much we will get, is $4.96 this next quarter. The annual dividend rate is yield is 3.11 from 3.21. The amount of shares needed for desired quarterly payout, meaning how many shares do we need in order to buy the desired quarterly payout? I'm sorry, I need to change this wording. The desired quarterly shares of stocks that we want to buy. So we want at least, once we get this established, we want to have at least 129 shares so it can continuously buy a stock, a share of stock every quarter. So we need 129 shares to get a quarterly payment, dividend quarterly payment of $160, which would cover the share of stock. So as you see, let me scroll back here. The share of stock, as long as it stays at this price, as long as it stays below 160, we will be able to buy a share. Otherwise, it would bump up. For example, last week, it was at 154. If we wanted to cover and get $159 to cover this 154, we only needed to buy 127 to 128 shares. I always kept it at 128. Now we had to bump it up to 129. So lastly, on this spreadsheet, if we wanted to get a desired target quarterly payout for retirement of $1,000 every quarter, again, this is $1,000 every quarter. This is just a number that I put in here. We would need, now mind you, if the next dividend payment always stays at 124, that's only if this stays at 124, we would need 806 shares to get $1,000 payout each quarter. How that's calculated is 1,000 divided by 124, which gave us 806 shares. Again, if this goes up, this is going to change. If this changes, of course, this will change as well. But again, if we wanted $1,000 every quarter, we need 806 shares. And as you can see, that didn't change from down here. Scrolling down to here, this is actually from Charles Schwab. Third quarter was a payout of 119. Fourth quarter 2023 was 119. Quarter one of 2024 was 119. Quarter two of 2024 was 124. And we're looking at quarter 23, from my understanding, right here. Quarter 2023 will also be $1.24. So there's our little walkthrough. Nothing, well, it has changed. The stock has increased, so we're making more money. So now let's get into our topic. So let's cover the topic for today. The topic today is, how do you find a house to purchase? How do I go about finding a house to purchase? And I'm going to take it an extra step and add in a couple of questions that somebody else might want to ask. How did this topic come up that I want to talk about? So a acquaintance of mine had asked me, how did I come about purchasing the property that I have to rent? Now, first I have to say is, like I told them, I'm a licensed realtor. I have to say that first off. Every realtor should say that. So before I became a realtor, I was looking for a house. And I also was talking to quite a few people about a house, about, people wanting to buying a house. I was giving them my personal knowledge. So as I was getting more and more people asking me, I decided to go get my license. I obtained my license, and the people that were asking, they really didn't know what they wanted. So the topic, how do I search for a house? I first find out, how much work do I want to put in a house? That's the first thing you should be thinking of. Because when you go and look into a house, if you're looking to put your own personal touch on a house, you should be worried about the painting on the walls, all this stuff that's not really important. You should be looking at the layout, the size, and if you're comfortable to live in that neighborhood. So to answer their question, this is what I told them. So they decided to go out and get their license. Now, mind you, I am not practicing the buyer-seller role of a realtor. They went out, got their license so they could become an investor like me, as well as a realtor, and practice the role of buying and selling, being a buyer and selling agent. So I told them the first thing that I do is go get pre-approved. Go get pre-approved for a loan, as well as do this simultaneously, build up a down payment. So you go get pre-approved. Let's say they say you're pre-approved for $100,000. So you're going to need at least I would say 9 to 17% down payment of the loan, depending on the area that you live, meaning the state that you live. Again, 9 to about 17% down payment. So if you get a house, and we'll just make this even numbers, we'll say 15%. You go out, you find a house, and it's $100,000. You're going to need at least $15,000 on a $100,000 loan to put down as a down deposit on that home. Closing costs, all that stuff. And the realtor would go through that with you, as well as the mortgage company should tell you this. So the methods that I use after I get how much house I can afford, again, if I'm qualified for $100,000, then I would start looking and going on Zillow, Trulia, and even Realtor. I would use these sites to start looking myself, just to see what's out there and what areas I wouldn't mind buying a house at. Now, again, because I'm a realtor, I suggest you have that realtor also in your Rolodex. Have their card in your Rolodex, in your cell phone, wherever you want to put it. I dated myself with the Rolodex. But you should have that realtor's contact information in your back pocket so you can reach out to them as well, because they use the MLS. And the MLS will help pull up properties that are not listed on Zillow, Realtor, or any of those real estate websites to look for homes. Go look at it, examine it, make sure it's okay. You already know it's under your it's at the amount that you want to purchase a home. Now, it's a twofold, as I was telling them, because this topic is really more for the investors. To me, I said if they are looking to flip a home, either way it goes, flipping or renting, you want to try to purchase it as low as possible. So if the house is going for that area for 100,000, you want to at least purchase the house, let's say at 50,000. But you want to purchase it after you tally how much it's going to cost to fix the house. Roof repairs, windows, painting, siding, if there's any foundation issues, if there's any sewer line issues. You want to get all this cost calculated to make sure that it's under 100,000. You also want to make sure that you can make a profit off of this house if you're looking to flip it. If you're looking to rent it out, a lot of things kind of go, you don't have to really worry about it because you're going to be renting the house out. If you hold on to it for years, more than likely the value is going to go up depending on that neighborhood that you buy it in. If for some freak reason the neighborhood just goes kaput and nobody wants to move there anymore, yeah, you're going to lose money on it. But that goes either way it goes. And as they say, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't type of thing. But you want to just do your research on the area where you're purchasing the house at. So after you get these calculations, which I'll show in a minute, then you want to make that decision if you want to purchase that house. But I told them this is how I do it. So let me pull up something real quick here and walk through a short little thing that I've learned when you're purchasing a house. And it could, like I said, it could go either for flipping or renting as well as in purchasing. One more thing. Before you go through the sale, if you're buying it from somebody, before you go through the sale, I always say, and this is for your insurance purposes, get an inspector. Get an inspector to go look at that house. If you don't know what you're looking for, get an inspector. I'm knowledgeable now because I've gutted out a couple of homes, so I know what I'm doing. But in the previous, when I first purchased my very first house for myself, I relied on that inspector. I walked through the inspection with the inspector and I listened and I paid attention to what he's doing. Because I figured if I ever purchased another home, I wanted to see what I should be looking at. And as well as if I thought that the inspector should be looking at something else, I would mention it to them. And then they would explain why they should or you shouldn't worry about it. So when you get that inspector, do that. Walk through it with them and learn what they know. And it doesn't take that long. Inspecting a house isn't rocket science. So again, let me pull up a little spreadsheet here because I love throwing those spreadsheets on Monday Money Talk. So let me pull up a little spreadsheet to show you like a little cost sheet that you should be thinking about as you're walking through and deciding if you should purchase a house to rent or flip or even just to own yourself. Okay, so here are just a few things that I would look into, and this is in the rating that I would consider repairing first when looking for a house. And these are the calculations that you need to look into right away. Foundation repairs. Would I do foundation work myself? No, I would hire a company to come out and do it. So I would get 3 estimates on foundation repairs. Now again, as I iterated before, Get an inspector to look at the house, because an inspector will look at your foundation to see if there's any cracks, any water is coming in, all that good stuff. Majority of the time, if you go in the basement, if it's finished, all that's going to be covered up. Not even an inspector is going to be able to say that. But he will be able to notice watermarks going around any drywall, furniture, wherever it may be. Also smell of mold and all that good stuff that you might not connect right away. So again, foundation, get your if your inspector goes, hey, you might need to check the foundation, get a uh, inspector to come out. I actually hired a structural engineer to come and look at a house that I had purchased because it looked like the basement wall was bowing a little bit. So I hired a structural engineer to come and look at the foundation. Yes, I had purchased the house, you know, so either way it goes, I had to get it fixed. But luckily, thank thank you God, the foundation was not, there was nothing wrong with the foundation. I'll put it that way. The structural engineer came and looked at it. It was just the way that they poured the concrete that made it look like the wall was bowing. The wall was not bowing. It was just the way that they poured the foundation. So the foundation was secure, structurally secure, and I was good with that. And I think it only cost me for the structural engineer to come out. I think it cost me $300-400, but it was well worth it. Again, these type of things I call insurance. Insurance to help me know that this house is in good shape and to move forward. Second thing, roof replacement, any roof repairs. I don't do roofing. I hire somebody. So again, I get 3 people to come out and review it. That's if my inspector, again, my home inspector notices that their roof is old, damaged, whatever it may be. If he says, hey, there's 3 layers of shingles on there, you're going to need to get it replaced, get a quote on your roofing. That should be the second thing that you look into and get repaired right away. Reason? You could go in that house, start gutting it out, repairing it. If there's any roof damage that's going to cause that roof to collapse, leak, whatever, everything that you just did inside is going to be ruined now. So what I'm focusing on here is the exterior of the house first. And that's the roof and the foundation is an exterior, but it's a structural part of the house. So let me rewind. What I focus on first is the structure of the house. Make sure that it's structurally sound, and then make sure that there's no issues with water getting into the house, and that would include the foundation as well as the roof. So that's why I say these 2 topics are important in it, and you should tackle first. Next thing, you probably could hold off on this one, but I would say yes, electrical system. If you don't have a generator to work on the house inside yourself, you're going to need somebody to come in and fix the electric. If you already have electric, great. But if you don't have electric, you're going to have somebody come in. And even if your inspector says, hey, you have knob and wire. Here's a picture of what knob and wire is. That knob and wire is outdated. It can be brittle. Anything can happen. That's old school electric. You need to get that taken out. Literally take it out of your house. Do not connect anything to those wires. Get it up to code. And a inspector will be able to let you know that. Okay? Next thing, plumbing. Why would you say not HVAC and windows? If you don't have an outhouse, you need some place to use the restroom. Also, water. You're going to need water to probably mix concrete. If you have to have concrete, you're going to need water to drink. You're going to need water to wash things with. That's why I say plumbing and septic. Also with the septic, if any of your sewer lines going from inside of the house to the outside is going to cost you to have somebody come in, rip that, if the basement's finished, rip the basement up, whatever it may be, pound through the ground in the basement, replace the piping underneath your basement floor. And they're going to have to go outside and dig outside if there's any roots in those lines going outside. So look into getting that, because you don't want to lay sod and all of a sudden now you have to have somebody come in and replace all that plumbing outside and rip up your new sod. So get that done as well. Again, this is all based on what your inspector tells you. Get this stuff done. I don't do plumbing, meaning that type of plumbing. I don't run sewer lines. When I did my house from the basement floor outside, I hire somebody. 3 quotes. Windows. Get your windows repaired, because you don't want air blowing in and out, all that stuff. But again, this can be done later. What you could do is board up the windows until you get to the point to where you could replace the windows. HVAC. If you live in a cold climate state, you're going to need heat. Why do I have this last? You can get those butane tanks with those heaters and turn those on. Yes, I did that. I used a gas heater when I was working, because I live in a cold climate state. When I was working on my rental, I used those butane heaters to warm up the house when I was working on it. And when I left, I turned them all off and took them home with me. Now, when you're painting and mudding, when you're putting up drywall and mudding, you have to either do that in the summertime, or you're going to have your HVAC up and running. I did not do that, because when you're sanding that mud, it's a lot of dust that floats around and can get in your furnace and ruin your furnace. If you already have a furnace, seal it up. Seal every vent. Make sure every vent is sealed up when you're drywalling and mudding. Because once you're sanding, that stuff gets all over the place. That's why I did not touch my HVAC system until all that was done. I did the drywall mudding during the summertime. And then after all that was done, I cleaned up the house. I had my HVAC guys come in and either put in a new furnace or repair the furnace that was in there. But all of mine had to have new furnaces. So they cleaned out the ductwork, checked the ductwork, and then they put in the new furnace. That is my list of things that you would need to look into when you're buying a house. When you get a building inspector or an inspector to come and look at your house, they will review all of this stuff for you and tell you what is wrong. Also, what's included in this plumbing is your hot water tank. That's also included in your plumbing. So don't think that I did not have that in there. Your hot water tank is included in this. That's why it says plumbing. That's part of your plumbing. Okay? That will get your hot water going through your house. And they will check out your hot water tank. I'd advise anybody, especially if you're buying a house, find out when that tank was put in. Your inspector will look at the tags and let you know. And then he will let you know how much of a life a hot water tank has until you have to buy a new one. I'm a strong believer in just upgrading everything, replacing everything, so you can start off fresh and not have to worry about something breaking down. Also, I believe in not band-aiding something. Fix it the right way first before you put any more work into something. Fix it the right way so you don't have to tear out the work that you did, if you have to go back and fix what you just band-aided. So as I'm looking for a house, these are the things that I look at and think about when I'm looking to purchase a house. These are the key things to keep in mind when you're looking to purchase a house, not just for yourself, but also if you're looking to rent or flip a house, if you're looking to invest. So Click over here if you would like to see the video I may have mentioned in this video. Click here for any video that I think that you might be interested in watching. And click right here to subscribe. I hope you do. And with that, till our next video, see ya.